We keep talking about gut health in adults and children. When it comes to your child's health, when it comes to your child's immunity, when it comes to your child's growth, the thing that you need to be focusing on is their gut health. You see, everything starts in the human gut. 75 to 85% of the immune system, immunity, which we keep talking about, starts in the gut. So you either have the right gut health or you have the wrong gut health. You have the wrong gut health, you have low immunity, you have problems like allergies, you have problems like, some kinds of sinus, asthma, low immunity, everything to do with low immunity and allergies. It all depends on how healthy your gut is. When we look at adults today, we look at hormonal imbalances in adults. We look at hormonal imbalances in young children, in girls during their puberty, and young teenagers. Again, we look at gut health. Because you would think, what's the connection between your gut and your hormones? Well, your gut bacteria, the good and bad, the colonies of good and bad bacteria is also required for synthesizing most vitamins and minerals and also balancing hormonal health. If a child has the wrong hormonal imbalance, they're going to grow the wrong way. They're going to have deficiencies. They're going to have emotional issues. They're going to have growth problems. So today it's very easy for parents and us to Google what are the foods which are the best for my child. What are the superfoods that are best for my child? We Google vitamins and minerals and we just dump all this stuff in the human body expecting it to work. But most of us find that it doesn't work. Because if you don't have the right gut health, whatever you feed your child, whatever you give your child or yourself as an adult, if you don't have the right gut health, you are not able to synthesize, you're not able to assimilate, you're not able to digest and absorb all the nutrition and the goodness in the food that you feed them into your system. So today we're going to talk about how to build gut health in your child. Now, I'm not a fan of just talking about foods and things that can build health or build new vitamin levels in the body. I'm more keen on finding out why is gut health bad? Why are we deficient in certain minerals and vitamins? Why isn't our body working the right way? So what I'm talking about is getting to the root cause of everything. So there are very few foods that can build great gut health. We all talk about probiotics and people are stuffing themselves with probiotics, not understanding that if they don't have the right amount of prebiotic, the probiotic is literally useless for them. So we need to go a step deeper and understand, number one, what destroys gut health. And as usual, the two white culprits, sugar and salt. In your gut, you have something called a microbiome. You have colonies of good bacteria and bad bacteria. We need the good bacteria, we need the bad bacteria as well. They both have functions. The problem is when the bad bacteria overgrows the good bacteria. So in your microbiome, in this colony, you have more of the bad bacteria and less of the good bacteria. That's where all the problems start. Now, this bacteria, as you know, is a living organism. It's living. It needs food to survive. It needs food to grow. So it gets its food by robbing your cells of nutrition, by taking most of the nutrition that is meant for your cells to grow and to sustain you, but it robs a lot of nutrition to sustain itself. And the two things that feed the bad bacteria is sugar and salt. So when we go through these extreme cravings of anything that has sugar and salt, very few people crave fruits. Very few people crave vegetables. The human body craves what it needs to sustain bad bacteria. So if I have more bad bacteria, the cravings for things that have sugar and salt is more and more. Because the bad bacteria is going to constantly keep sending signals to your brain, asking and screaming for what it needs to grow. If it doesn't get it, guess what happens? It dies. So one of the best ways to reduce the bad bacteria, number one, is reduce your sugar and your salt so the bacteria doesn't get what it needs to grow and sustain, and it slowly starts getting lesser and lesser and it slowly dies. Junk food again has sugar, has salt, has food additives, has food color, and food dyes. We constantly look at all these cupcakes which are pink and bright blue and purple and all these exotic colors, and human beings are so foolish in believing that pretty things are good things. We don't understand that things are made pretty so that it attracts the mind, the psyche of your child, and you get attracted to that color and you begin to eat and having all those things. Ask anyone who bakes these products with all these bright colors, what are the kind of colors that they're using? What is the quality of food coloring and the food dyes that they're using? Go to a vegetarian restaurant, order a palak paneer, and look at the color of the palak paneer. It's a bright green. Now you make a palak paneer at home without adding color and tell me if you'll get the same color as the restaurant. Why? Because in a restaurant, the food has to be visually appealing, so it makes sense to you. You like spending money on it, you buy it, and it destroys your health. That's why your food at home will never look as good as the food in restaurants. That's their business. They got to do all these things at the cost of your health for them to make a business out of it. But these food colors and dyes, they create so much of problem with your child's gut. Forget about just children, adults as well. And then we're looking at ADHD and autism. We're looking at asthma and sinus and autoimmune disorders and psoriasis and eczema in our children, and we think our money will buy the best doctors and nutritionists and treatments for them, where all you need to do is cut it off at the source. What is creating an irritant in my child's body that is not allowing their immune system to function the right way? And anything which is artificial and chemically produced will have a side effect at some point. So now your next question was, but all children eat colored foods and all children are not sick. Absolutely right. It's the same with adults. But everyone has a different strength of immunity. So a child who unfortunately has a lower immunity will suffer greatly when there are more chemicals added to their body. So everyone is different, and we can't live our lives comparing our bodies and our minds with other people. Oh, that person drinks and smokes and is healthy, which means I should be able to drink and smoke and I'll be healthy. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So we look at junk food like food color, we look at dyes, we look at sugar and salt, which clearly means that the food that you put in your child's body is either building their gut or destroying their gut. Then we come to prebiotics and probiotics. You know, we've spoken about antibiotics and how many children today, there's a direct correlation when we speak to the parents. Those children who have autoimmune disorders, skin issues, psoriasis, eczema, sinus, asthma, most of them, not all, most of them would have gone through serious courses of antibiotics when they were small. Now, I'm not saying that was the wrong decision. They probably needed it for the condition that they had. But the problem was they took it without probiotics. So the antibiotics removed the bacteria, healed your child, and also took away all the good bacteria from the gut, making your child sicker and dropping immunity even further, which is why you always take an antibiotic with a probiotic. If you're taking a probiotic, you take a prebiotic. Prebiotics are found in fruits, in all your natural foods. Probiotics are found in your curd. If you're dairy-free, you can find it in pickled vegetables. You can find it in simple foods like, soaking rice overnight and drinking the rice water in the morning and eating the rice. There are enough of probiotics out, or you supplement a probiotic, which you can buy from a chemist. Get a good brand probiotic and take it. You may have to supplement if you're low on it. But the important thing is replenishing the gut bacteria in adults and in children as well. The more conventional the treatment and the more serious the treatment and the more drugs your child is taking, the more requirement for probiotics and a clean gut. Because every medication goes through the liver, has some side effect on the liver, kidney, and the gut as well. It has to pass through your gut because that's where it exits from your body at some point. So the longer it stays in your system, the more problems you have. Fiber. So many children today and adults are deficient in fiber. Fiber also works as a prebiotic. You have insoluble fiber, you have soluble fiber. So when you have the right amount of fruits in your child's diet, the right amount of nuts and seeds and raw vegetables, your children get enough of fiber to synthesize prebiotics, help the probiotics work the right way, and keep your gut clean as well. So we got to make sure that we have a balanced diet. You're not going to find this in pasta. You're not going to find this in feeding your kids pizzas and pastas all the time, even if you add a topping of vegetables like most parents think. It's better than having a pizza with less vegetables, but things like pasta, this is junk food. It's adding to no nutrition in your child's diet as well. You're Indian, eat Indian food, period. Okay? Your water intake is extremely important as well, because the less water that you have, your gut doesn't have the right amount of hydration to function. Your gut lining is moist. It requires the right amount of hydration to even absorb nutrition from the food it assimilates and pass it on into your blood, which carries it to all the cells in the human body. Your gut heals when you rest. So that's a good night of sleep. And of course, when we've constantly got into this stupid habit of eating every 2 hours, believing that our metabolic rate is going to be faster. Metabolism has nothing to do with how often you eat. Now, very few diabetics will require to eat every 2.5 hours. That's because of their disease. That's because of their inability to control their insulin levels. But other than that, people who are constantly eating every 2 hours, go back to tradition. People didn't do that. People still don't do that. Only we people living in urban cities think that we need to munch. Why? Because the snacking industry is huge. How do you sell a snack? By making people eat in between the day. We need to understand that your body goes through building and elimination. So you eat food, it digests, the digestive system needs to rest. It'll tell you when you're hungry, then you eat again. If you're constantly eating, your digestive system doesn't work, doesn't stop working. It doesn't get a break. Your acid levels always stay higher in the human body. And then what happens is your gut is always active as well. You see, every part, every cell in the human body, every organ requires rest to rejuvenate, detoxify, and clean itself. And that happens automatically without us having to run to retreats to do detoxifications and all of these things. We need to do it when our human body is not working the way it was designed to work. So stop eating every 2 hours or 3 hours. Your gut needs a break to repopulate bacteria, to rejuvenate, to heal, to remove toxins. Do not eat every 2 hours. A normal vegetarian meal would take anywhere between 3 to 3.5 hours to digest. A meal which is non-vegetarian because of the protein may take 4 to even 5 hours to digest. So let the entire digestive system complete its cycle of digestion, the same way a sleep cycle completes its cycle of sleep. A hormonal cycle completes its cycle of hormonal balance. Women will relate to this at the start of their period, premenopause, menopause. It's going through a cycle. This woman has to follow the cycle. If she breaks the cycle, she has a hormonal imbalance, and you know the side effects that come along with having a hormonal imbalance or an incomplete period cycle. The same thing with the human body and nature. Look outside. Nature follows a cycle. We are products of nature. We are not following a cycle. We're following a cycle based on the stupid crap that media keeps teaching us all the time. We follow a cycle that technology dictates to us, which is not natural. And technology is not making your life better in any way when it comes to your emotions, when it comes to your physical health or anything else. So we got to rise beyond this and understand that there is a cycle that works in our body, and we got to follow that cycle for our children as well. Which is why trying to eat at the same time every day is extremely important. Your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. If you can't do it as an adult because you already are thinking of excuses as to why you can't do it, at least get your children to eat at the right time every day. Because like your muscles that have a memory, every cell in your body, your digestive system, every organ has a memory as well. Your body expects food at a particular time. The elimination cycle, the detoxification cycle, and the building cycle has its own time. It doesn't work according to your day or the time that you decide is right for your body. And that's where the biggest challenge is. So make sure that children eat their meals preferably at the same time every day to create a strong growing gut. So sleep is extremely important for them. You will know it as an adult. When you sleep late, you party late, at night you wake up the next morning, you have a bloating, you have flatulence, you have indigestion, acidity. Those are all issues in your gut because your gut didn't get a chance to heal, repopulate, and balance its bacteria. It's as simple as that. That's how you build gut health. Stop spending your time Googling foods that are good for the gut. Yes, if you have a weak gut, wheat will be a problem. It is inflammatory to your gut lining. Milk and dairy will be a problem. It is inflammatory. Sugar is inflammatory. White refined salt is inflammatory as well, which is why everyone needs to shift to rock salt. Iodized salt came into play when the country was going through an epidemic called goiter. Goiter no longer exists, but we're eating the same salt. And it's a myth that rock salt and pink salt does not have iodine. They have iodine in smaller concentrations, but it is pure and not synthetic, like the synthetic iodine in iodized salt. So when you're eating fruits, you're getting a little bit of iodine in your fruits as well, including vegetables. And you get a little bit of iodine in the rock salt that you eat. And that is enough for you. Having more iodine in the body will not prevent you from getting goiter or having a thyroid issue as well. You need these, that's why they're called trace minerals. Iodine is a trace mineral. Your body needs traces of them. But we think the more we have of a good thing, the healthier we're going to be. So make that shift as well. Now coming to non-dairy sources of calcium. With everyone wanting to get off dairy for the right reasons, and what we need to understand that There are foods which are rich in calcium, but I have to say right now that whether you're vegetarian or you're non-vegetarian, I'm talking about people who are dairy-free, you will have to supplement with calcium. There is no way you can get your recommended daily allowance of calcium without having dairy and without supplementing. So you'll find calcium in nuts and seeds and green leafy vegetables, and you'll find them in supplements. Yes, it's true. Most of the calcium is existent in milk and cheese and yogurt for all those reasons where, people were given milk because of calcium deficiencies. That's all fine. But if you're choosing to be off dairy today, there is no way that you will get your RDA with only eating foods unless you're going to sit at home, calculate every single food and make sure that you're having all these foods throughout the day, which is impossible for most people to do. Sesame seeds, high source of calcium, but not enough to give you the recommended daily allowance. So people who want to get off dairy, you will have to make sure that your children are supplementing. Now, you don't want to take a chance and end up with your child having a calcium deficiency, or you as an adult as well. Extremely important, because calcium is a very, very, very important part of the human body. It controls many functions, right from blood clotting to hormones to maintaining the alkaline levels of your body, your teeth, your bones. So again, rather than stuffing ourselves with calcium, let's find out what's depleting us of calcium. And again, it all comes down to acidity and an acidic body. Calcium is stored in your bones. When your blood gets too acidic because of your lifestyle, too much of sugar, too much of junk, too much of acidic food, a sedentary lifestyle, less water intake, your blood has to maintain its pH level. So to stay alkaline, it will start leaching calcium from your bones. So now you have a deficiency in calcium. No matter how much of calcium-rich food you're eating or supplements you're taking, it's being drained because of your lifestyle. You plug that hole in your lifestyle and you will have a normal balanced diet maintain your calcium levels for you. Now, women who go through premenopause, women who age, alcohol depletes your calcium. When you're depleted of calcium, your D3 gets depleted, your vitamin K gets depleted, and your magnesium gets depleted. Everything that is required for immunity, your biochemical, your physiological function of your body, your muscles working, your growth, everything is connected with that. So one deficiency of a vitamin or mineral can lead to innumerable problems, and innumerable problems can be corrected when we correct only that one deficiency. So instead of stuffing yourselves with calcium supplements and calcium-rich foods, plug the hole that is draining calcium in your child's body and in your body. So yes, in India we have a syrup which is called Calcimax. Calcimax has calcium in, it's got zinc, it's got iron, and I think it's got D3 as well. It's a perfect combination. Now, we got to be careful of overdoing it on calcium as well as adults as well, because then we have oxalates. People who overdo it on calcium, there's a direct link between heart disease and calcium as well. And like I said, the more calcium you take doesn't fix osteoporosis, doesn't fix arthritis. These are issues of calcium being leached from your bones. The root cause is autoimmunity, a weak gut, acidic blood, acidic systems. That's leaching your system, and that's why we get low bone density. That's why we get osteoporosis. But here we are pumping people with calcium. There's no connection between your calcium and your osteoporosis getting better. Yep, it's a deficiency. But just flooding your body with calcium will not sort that out. So calcium is important for your child's growth. Extremely, extremely important. Now, when it comes to your child's growth, again, the gut bacteria is also related to the way you feel. Depression, anxiety in the mind is directly proportionate to the amount of gut bacteria you have. Because you see, serotonin, which is the feel-good hormone, it's the hormone that we require to feel good, is synthesized in the gut. So if you have the wrong gut health, you have problems. You have anxiety, you have depression. And no matter what you do, it'll only get worse and worse unless you start treating the mind as well as treating the physical self with the gut. So the more good bacteria you have, the better your mind works, the better your organs work, the better you absorb food, digest food, and utilize food. So we got to break out of this whole habit of just thinking, oh, good foods, I can afford it. Let me stuff my child or myself with good foods. You have to have the right system in your body to break down these foods and absorb these foods, which is why less is more. We don't have to make health an obsession and keep trying every superfood. You need simple little foods that have worked for people before. It will work for us now if we have the right system created in us to assimilate it. It's as simple as that. So whenever there is a health problem, the first thing that you look at is the gut. And no amount of popping antacids is ever going to make your gut healthy. In fact, antacid is going to make your gut health worse. It's going to make your acidity worse over time. We have to understand that no quick fixes are healing you. Quick fixes are making you feel better, addicting you because it took away your pain, and you're buying more and more and more and destroying your health more and more and more. Use it as a crutch to get you through a situation for a short term, but parallelly change the way you eat, sleep, think, move. Invest more in the intelligence of your human body and you'll have less of these problems. So now when parents decide to go on feeding their children crap and junk, yes, you are going to have problems. And no money in the world that you have is going to take away the pain and suffering because of your mistake of encouraging your children to constantly eat junk and food. Learn to say no. It's okay to say no. It's okay to be strict. It's okay for your child to be sad and to call you boring and to say all these things. Be strong. Hold your own self-dignity, and remember the larger purpose is protecting your child and keeping them healthy. Not becoming the opposite where, oh, but my child will be angry. Oh, my child cries. My child does that. You should have thought about that before becoming a parent. That part of your job is dealing with these emotions of the children and being a rock when it comes to discipline and putting them on the right path. The world has become soft today. That's the issue with children. That's why you have children taking to crime, taking to drugs, taking to alcohol, taking to all of this crap at an early age because we become soft. We've made our children soft by making them think that they are perfect and everything is fine. Okay, it's okay for them to realize that they are not perfect, that they don't do the things the right way, and that there will be good days, there will be bad days. Let your children learn to deal with boredom, with sadness, with anger, with all these emotions. But because as adults, we can't deal with it, and we're constantly using coping mechanisms to feel better, like drinking, socializing, drugs, all of this crap, we think it's okay for our children to do the same thing. So like I always say, you want to make a change in your child's life, you first make a change in your life. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.